Welcome everyone to a video showing you how to investigate and cure oiling problems on a chainsaw. This particular model is a Stihl MS200 climbing saw. Now the oiling mechanism is underneath here, and this little channel along here is where the oil comes out from the little oil pump, and the reservoir is over here. Now first thing we need to do is to get this sprocket and the clutch off. There is a separate video which shows you how to do that. I've actually loosened these off just to save a little bit of time already, so we'll just get these off. Sprocket and the little needle bearings, so they can sit to the side. Now, what to do? There is actually a tiny little hole up here which corresponds, when the cover of the saw is on, you can see it's just about faded on here, but it does give you, see that picture of a drive link with a drop? That shows you where you can adjust it from. So first things first, if you turn it clockwise, it shows you if you go this way it's maximum, that way it's minimum, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. So once we've taken the clutch and sprocket off, we need to take these plastic covers off, and there's two of them. They come in two parts. This one down here. I find these little magnetic trays quite useful for trying to keep hold of bits and bobs and stuff and getting lost. Third one up here. Now I've actually, before I started the video, with an airline I've cleaned everything so it makes things a little bit clearer. Now two sections, this one on the bottom here just comes out there, that's one part, and this is the other one here that comes off here. And there we go. This is called the worm gear, this plastic part that goes on here. This is the oil pump here. What we'll do, we'll take the worm gear off. It should generally, if you turn it clockwise like that, it should screw off because it's got a thread on it. Now I don't know if you can see on here, but the thread is actually damaged on this particular piece, which is what the problem turned out to be. But what we can do just to troubleshoot, now this is the oil pump, and this is a little pipe that goes or comes from the oil reservoir over there through into here, and it actually then travels up in there and out this little channel and goes onto the bar. Now if you might just be able to see, inside of there is a little cylinder which rotates that way, so it turns that way. It's got little fins on it which are basically driven by the thread on this. So this sits onto the sprocket. As the chain turns, this turns the thread and turns that which operates the pump. Now sometimes if you're lucky you just end up with gunk in the reservoir which blocks up some of these pipes, so it's worth taking these off and blowing through them. Or as it turned out on this particular one, it was this worm gear which was the problem. So we have got a replacement. As you can see, the thread on this one, which is the new one, is brand new. The only thing you need to make sure you do is get the right one. This is a 6 tooth because the sprocket is a 6 tooth. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you don't want to push this on because you don't want to damage the thread again. So as it goes on, you just thread it on so it sits against that little assembly there. Once we've put that on, we can put these back. This is the other bit I was going to show you. The little hole where the oil adjustment was comes through to this little screw here. So when it's 90 degree, so it's facing out this way, it's maximum oiling. When it's turned that way, minimum oiling. Turn it this way is maximum, turn it that way is minimum. So I like to keep it on maximum. So we slot this back on, and this one has a little lip here. So we just hinge that on there and it just clicks into place. 3 screws to go back in. One up there, that one here, and this one in there. Just got to make sure these screws go in straight because you don't want to thread the housing and that'll end up with more problems. And no need to over tighten them. There we go. That. Now we have to fit the sprocket and clutch on, and just a little hint because it's easy to miss. First of all, put these on, a little bearing, a little drop of oil on them, always helps. When you put the sprocket on, obviously when you're ordering the new worm gear, you need to make sure it corresponds to the right sprocket, because I believe these sprockets you can have, this is a 6 tooth as you can see, I think they come in a 7 and an 8 tooth as well. So if that's a 6 tooth, you need to make sure that's a 6 tooth worm gear. And when the sprocket goes on, just make sure that that slots in like that. You don't want it sitting on top like that, because then you won't be able to tighten it properly. So just make sure that locates in like that. And then we just fit the clutch back on as well. Tighten that, put the cover back on, and you should be good to go. I hope that video is of some use to you. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe and watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much.